So essentially, what we're saying is when you create your packages, you should always deliver the package that gets the client the results. For instance, if they say they want to lose 30 pounds, you should know how long it's going to take them based on your previous experience.
Welcome to the Fitpreneurs, the show that will help you flex your business muscles so you can make more money and live the life you really want. No more complaining, whining, or being a wimp. It's time to pump up your fitness business and push yourself beyond your comfort zone. So no girly men or lazy ladies allowed. It's time for me to do some push-ups and turn things over to my friends AJ Roberts and Simon Lovell. Hasta la vista.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Fitpreneurs. I'm AJ Roberts, and this is
Simon Lovell. Welcome to episode 4, guys.
Yeah, me and Simon, we're excited to be back, but it's actually been a while since we spoke. I'm not sure why. So this is a dangerous call, because whenever me and Simon don't speak, we have a lot of stuff to say. And if you've listened to the previous 3 episodes, you probably have figured out that I talk a million miles an hour, and Simon talks just a little bit slower. But you guys better have your fingers ready to type or to write, because we got a lot to cover. So before we get into all this crazy stuff today, let's do a little bit of catch up, Simon. You know, there's been a lot of nakedness up on Facebook recently from us, eh?
Oh, well, that would be down to my commitment video. And I decided that it was the month for me to sort my stuff out fitness-wise. And I decided just get committed 100%, hired myself a trainer who has been holding me accountable, and I decided to strip off into my underwear and socks and put a video up on Facebook. So things are changing, my body's changing, and yeah, I mean, what's wrong with some naked photos? You know, I know
I actually downloaded that video and kept it for future reference. It was very, very artistic of you. The little striptease there. And
slightly concerned by that, but
no, you're my wingman. You know, if I ever need a wingman, you know. Nice. Yeah, you know, the same thing. Not me being committed, but for those who listen to previous shows, you'll remember that I was getting ready for my first bodybuilding show. I actually competed in that show, managed to take 2nd overall and qualify for NPC Nationals and Junior Nationals. I'm going to probably end up going to Nationals in November, as it gives me a longer period of time. But of course, from that, there's been a lot of photos, a lot of pictures being posted, and some people didn't even know I was competing, friends and family and whatnot, and they were blown away by those pictures. And
how long did it take for you to get oiled up for that?
Well, I'll save that for a little bit later here, the story I was going to tell on that.
Cliffhanger.
The whole experience itself was very unique and interesting. I learned a lot from. But more than anything, I realized, you know, immediately after the show, we're talking about commitments here with you getting committed again. And I think that's awesome. You know, we talk a lot about fitness pros and really being at the highest level in all areas. And obviously, being a fitness pro, the body is probably the number one area that most of us should be focused on. But very rarely in a room of fitness professionals is everyone in their peak. People are often, you know, saying they need to get back on that bandwagon. So immediately after the show, I texted my nutrition coach, Shelby Starnes, and we talked about what was going to happen moving forward. And I thought to myself that I was going to take a week off. It was my birthday week. I turned 29 on March 20th. So I thought, I'll take the week off. I'll have fun. I'll eat whatever I want. And then I'll start to get back on it. And I'll reach out to Shelby later on in the month. But I realized immediately after the show that being a former fatty, you know, being a guy who was weighed 320 pounds, you know, lost close to 100 pounds for the show, I realized that, you know, that was old habit, a bad habit to do, and that I could gain 20, 30, 40 pounds from rebound from the show because I literally was carb depleted for close to 6 weeks. And, you know, with the show and everything coming off the fat loss plan and moving into a weight gain plan, probably the best thing to do was to hire Shelby right away and not allow myself to slip beyond, you know, being able to get back on the bandwagon quickly. So I immediately hired him after the show within a couple of hours. And Monday we started right.
You didn't immediately go to the Cheesecake Factory, which is where I normally force us to go.
I know, that's what people ask me. What was that first cheat meal? And my cheat meal that night, it was a curry from World Curry here in Pacific Beach, and the cheat was the naan bread. So that was my cheat meal. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. And Sunday I had a photo shoot with our friend Marshall Wayne. So I had to stay tight for that. And then, birthday week, had a little bit here and there, but was probably 80% on the diet and back on track fully 100% now. I'm weighing in at 243, which is not that far away from where I was before we started the last minute cuts. The goal is to stay lean, to gain muscle, and to not let myself get too far out of whack. And I think that's, you've experienced, I think that's what a lot of people experience is they ebb and flow. They go from one extreme to the other, very hard to maintain. That's really where my focus is on now, is keeping the body that I've built, building upon that slowly versus going one way, one direction, all the way back to 300 something pounds, because I could very easily do that.
That's awesome. Something I want to touch on before we dive into more stories and the topic of the show is thank you for everybody that has reached out since we launched the initial 3 shows. We've had some amazing feedback and we would like to stay in contact with you. So if you head over to Facebook, facebook.com/Fitpreneurs. Also, please leave us a review in iTunes. We are human just like you guys. So, when you post a status on Facebook and then you're waiting for the comments to be there, me and AJ are just the same. And we're like, oh, who's put a review in iTunes, or who's written a comment on the Facebook page? So we love the interaction and it just keeps us moving forward, doing what we love, helping you guys. And please show us some love if you're enjoying the episodes. And really, again, thank you to those of you who've already reached out and commented or liked the page or left a review in iTunes.
Yeah. Keep sending the good stuff.
Something that happened to me this month, which was huge for me, was I attended one of Tony Robbins' events called Unleash the Power Within, UPW it's called. And that was just a fantastic experience for me. I've actually signed up to Tony's Platinum program where I'm going to be able to work with him much closer over the next 12 months and go on trips with him and stuff like that. And it was just, the whole event was like the energy. He does this, I don't know if you know of it, AJ, you probably do. He does this thing called the Dickens Technique. And what he does is that in his program Personal Power 2, he takes you into the future and kind of gets you in the mindset of how would your life be in, say, 5 years' time, 10 years' time, 20 years' time if you were taking the same actions that you are now. What was amazing about it, this was just one part of the event, and we did walking on hot coals and other stuff, which is all about state change. But this particular part of UPW, it was like the room was turned like 7,000 people, and the whole room just turned to like hell. Right, as everybody was just getting like deep down emotional with all the issues that they had, and just the energy in that room was so negative. But then at the complete flip side of it, the room turned into euphoria when everybody realized that, things could change. And it's just amazing how he manages to change people's states and get people thinking in a completely different way. And also, big thing that I took away from that event was calling BS on our own thoughts. And a lot of the times the actions we take or lack of actions that we take are based on, the voices that we listen to in our head, basically a load of BS. That was a big thing for me, as much as the transformation that I've decided to put myself in over the next 12 weeks and beyond and get committed. For me, Tony Robbins' event was a fantastic thing.
Yeah, I think I've never heard of that method. I've not been to Tony's events. Something I've always wanted to do, and I'll probably, especially now that you're involved, I'll probably find myself at an event here sooner than later. But
there's one in San Jose, I think, in July. So.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, but I think that's something that a lot of people, when they hesitate on decisions or they're given opportunities and they pass them up, a lot of the times they're not thinking about their actions and how that leads to their future and each decision. They're just looking in the now, which is, it's not a bad thing to live in the now, except for when the now is something you don't like and you're trying to change it. And I think that a lot of people, the fear of the unknown scares them away from taking that leap of faith to move towards what it is they want. But at the same stance, they're not focused on what they're going to lose. Yeah, I think that I could see the power of that. And I could see in a huge group how that the energy would shift. And it excites me to hear that, because it just, I can visualize it, I can see it. Hopefully the listeners are kind of going through that same thing. And maybe some of them will even try this technique. I'm sure it won't be as powerful without being led by Tony, but I could imagine just them closing their eyes and thinking about, if I do the same things I do now, what would it be? How would my business be, or how would my life be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years? Is that the life I want? And if the answer is no, how do I fix that? And then not to hesitate on that decision. I think that's something you did with the fitness thing, right? You knew that it was time to make a change. You reached out to your client. You gave him a chunk of money to get started. And
well, there's a story behind that, and I'll come on to that.
Yeah, when we get to the content. But I remember you reached out to me and you said, is this a good, you said, it seems a little, you said you were hesitant. You said, it seems like, a big investment. And it was like, well, do you want $1 million mind and a 10-cent body, or $1 million body and $1 million mind? So, everyone goes through that. I think that's important. All of us go through that hesitation. But I think I could see how now I think I'm going to start using this is anytime I start to, doubt myself and listen to the voices, I'm going to think, okay, if I listen to these voices, how will my life be? And I think that will change the thought process. So that was totally unexpected. I wasn't, I didn't know you were going to say that. And so it left me on a separate train of thought. But hopefully the listeners could see how powerful that was and they actually start using it themselves. So fantastic stuff.
Just one last thing before we go into the main meat and potatoes. It's my birthday this month. What I've done is I can't reveal what's happening, but I've basically got 15 friends together, a mix of clients and friends, and I've planned a secret event. They know nothing about it. I'm putting on something very special. And what I really learned about doing this was that I wanted to make it, just a really outstanding day, just because it's obviously my birthday, but also I just wanted to do something different. And just the fact that nobody knows what's happening is just like, everyone's like, oh, I'm so excited. And I'm so like, I'm just wondering what's happening, because everything is normally planned and everybody knows what's going on. And so if you can apply that to your business as well, it's like, make things a little bit mysterious. And I just kind of got that when I was doing it. It's like, everyone's just like wanting to know what, and they're excited and they're fearful because I've just told them it's like going to be experience, but they don't know what to expect. It's like, I'm throwing them off on different kind of things that it could be. And just, they're really intrigued. So maybe you could implement that in your FitPro business somehow.
That is secrets is what people love, and there's a secret. Everyone wants to know what the secret is. The excitement builds around it. It's like, oh, I got to know. So I could just imagine the impact this would have if someone put it on their business. And, as long as you don't show up in your birthday suit, Simon, I think everyone will be pleasantly happy.
Do you think they're all going to mind when they're all going to a really popular nightclub in London all wearing a onesie?
Oh, it's a onesie party. I should have guessed. I should have guessed.
See, they're probably listening now going, oh, I'll probably get like 15 cancellations now.
Exactly. So we're going to talk today about positioning and pricing, and basically how to make as much money as you choose. It's a topic that me and Simon have both dealt with ourselves over the past few years, and it's a topic that comes up constantly with our clients. And it's one of those things that when the shift happens, it happens so fast. It's such a beautiful thing to see our clients and people we help transform so fast, and that's what we want to jump in today. But I promised a story earlier, and I promised Simon I would tell this story. He doesn't know the story at all, but it's in relation to the bodybuilding show. So we'll come back to the content here in a minute. But essentially, so what happened, Simon, was I go up to the bodybuilding show, and of course, you have to be tanned as much as you can because of the lights on stage. They basically whitewash you out. You have to have a dark tan on. So this requires several sessions of spray tanning. And of course, bodybuilding, you're not wearing very much up on stage. So you're required to spray tan full body. So anyway, what happens is the girls come, they set up their hotel rooms or the booths or whatever they have, and you show up and you get sprayed, and then you dry, and then you get sprayed again, and then you come back the next day and get sprayed. So I knew the process here. I knew what the process was, but having never done it before, I start reading the little, rules of it's, show up, and it's best to spray tan in the nude, and we'll provide socks for the private areas, and I'm so I'm like, okay, it's not just so I show up and I walk in.
Water balloon, you mean?
I walk in and there's two booths, and there's a guy in one booth already drying off. So there's a naked guy stood right there, and a guy I've never met before, and just hanging in the breeze. And of course, I have to strip down and go through the process myself. But it takes about 30 minutes to dry. And so the whole time you're there, you're drying off. You got a fan blowing on you. You're swinging in the breeze. And
hang on. You had a fan blowing on you.
Yeah, to dry the
Oh,
tan.
sorry, I just
Yes.
misunderstood
Oh
that.
no, not a button, not like a person. I don't take a fan around with me like, hey, meet Joe. This is my biggest fan. No. I so so anyway, so you stood there talking, and then the girl, of course, she's waiting for you to dry. So she just ends up having a conversation with you. So there you are, fully naked, and she's fully clothed with rubber gloves on and stuff because of spray tanning, and you're there just having normal conversation. It was a very unique experience for me. Definitely something I've never done before, and it seems like I'm going to be doing it again. But I thought that was quite. It was something that I had. I knew the tanning was a part of the sport of bodybuilding, but I'd never done it. So I had no idea this side of it. And, a lot of people commented on Facebook about the color of my skin and how did I get so dark or why was I so dark? So, it just was, an experience, let me tell you.
Before we go on, what kind of pumping up did you do before?
Like,
Because I watched I put Netflix on the other day, and there's like loads of films on, and then like this black and white one came up. It was Pumping Iron.
oh, yeah.
I watched that, and I was like kind of pumping up before the bodybuilding show and doing the curls and pressing ups, and Arnold's going like, "I got to beat you." Oh. So what did you do?
Yeah, so you do mostly just you use a rubber band and you just basically trying to pump blood into the muscle. At that point, before you go on stage, you're so depleted, dehydrated from the water cut that you really don't need to. You really can't even lift a lot, let alone need to lift a lot. And so, as you're going out on stage, you're flexing and posing. The thing that baffled me, I had no idea, was how exhausting it was. You're only out there for, I think it was 45 seconds, and then you're back out there for another couple of minutes, and then another maybe 30, 45 seconds for your routine. And I was wiped out for the week after that. It was so hard, but it's because you're in such a, your body is such a dehydrated state. So the pump up was literally, just bands and just go through each muscle, just getting a pump and trying to force the blood in there, make the veins pop. And, at the end of the day, that little pump workout isn't going to change you enough to make a difference. You're either ready or you're not ready. And that's the way it is. So that's kind of the process.
Interesting. So, content of today's show, AJ.
Yeah. So I mentioned earlier we're going to talk about pricing and positioning. And the reason we want to do this is because we talk to a lot of trainers. We're blessed to be able to do that. I've been in the industry for a long time and recently spoke at an event. I remember when I was the guy sitting in the crowd and I was the guy working for someone else and thinking to myself, how do I make more money? And that's always the issue, it seems, with trainers. And most trainers, based on statistics, most trainers do not make a lot of money whatsoever. The reason for that, we believe, yet to have anyone prove us wrong, is not because of where they live. It's not because of their ability to actually get clients. What it comes down to is the way they price themselves. And I think that the bigger reason is positioning. So we want to get into that today. And I'm going to kick it off because I'm really passionate about this, because to me, you absolutely have to charge more. There's no question about it. And the reason for that is because essentially people who invest more are more committed. And more commitment means more results. More results means more referrals. And the biggest thing I see is people basically not charging enough and their clients not getting results as a result of that, because there's not enough skin in the game. And I think, Simon, you're a great example of this with some of the stuff. When we try to do stuff on our own and we get free advice, like it almost falls on deaf ears,
Yeah, totally. And I've got my own story about reinvesting in one of my clients and getting committed myself with my training, and I needed to do that. But also it's worth mentioning that, I totally believe that a fit bro should invest, becoming a better trainer, like doing all like the different things to accelerate your growth as a trainer. But ultimately that doesn't equate to making more money. And that really, if you can sell yourself at the right level, then there's no reason why you can't go to 5K a month if you're on 3, and 7K a month if you're on 5, and 10K a month if you're on 8, and scale up that way. And it's not to do with the amount that it's about the way that you position yourself. And so what I find a lot of mistakes trainers making is that because they don't have the level of income that they want, they look at everybody and think that no one has any money to spend, when the truth is you don't know what money they have available. You don't know what their commitment level is. You don't know what money they have access to. And so many people are making the assumption that people don't have the money to spend when they don't have the money to spend. I had a client who had been in the industry for 6 months and was earning about £800 a month. And I got him to 6,500 within 30 days. And so, yes, that comes from changing a price positioning, implementing the new sales model, but a lot of it comes from a mindset shift that has to happen in terms of your own beliefs around money. And there may be different things in play that are causing you to position yourself at the low end of the market. You see, if you're around a lot of trainers in your gym or in your area and everybody's kind of talking about the fact there's no clients, no one wants to spend any money, then you're only going to manifest that conversation within your business. And so it's very important to make sure that you're around a circle, or you're around constantly listening to our podcast and putting that information in there that actually you can be the premium trainer in your area. And it doesn't mean that even if you're a relatively new trainer that you can't position yourself in that way. If you are able to get a result with somebody, if you know that you can get a transformation, then you need to get clients committed at a level whereby they are so committed that they get awesome results. And the very fact that they are stood with you in that maybe consultation or in that session with you is because they haven't been committed up until now. And they've been doing the low cost things. They've been paying £10 a month, or they've been at a low end boot camp, and they've not really had the skin in the game. So once you get the skin in the game in yourself and maybe invest in yourself, then you will understand what it's like to get people invested with you.
Yeah, you said a couple of things there that really light me up and get me all excited. Of course, we talk about manifestation. We talk about surrounding yourself with powerful people. And, we borderline, probably a lot of people listening to this is new concepts for them. And they think, hey, you guys are a little woo-woo there. And the truth is we are, because the deeper we go, the more we realize that a lot of the stuff that you are looking for in life is already there, and it's just tapping into it. And it's actually, I think it was a Tony Robbins seminar. Funny, we were talking about him earlier, but he said, we're in a room, and he said, everyone be quiet, everyone be quiet. What do you hear? Nothing. And he says, listen again. What do you hear? Nothing. Right? He says, is there any noise? Put your hand up if you think there's no sound. And so, everyone raises their hand. There's no sound. All right. And he takes a radio out and he turns the radio on. He says, is there sound? And they say, yeah, he turns it off. Is there sound? No. There's frequencies, right? Vibrations. And a lot of the times we're not plugged into those. We're not tuned into those, right? And a lot of times mentors can help just shift our perspective. It's not that we don't know what to do or how to do it. It's that we're looking over here and we're looking at a set of problems or a set of solutions based on what we know. And a lot of times the mentor does is just shift our focus and to make us look in the different direction. And all of a sudden the light bulbs start going off, and everything you've learned, because I guarantee if you listen to this, you've probably invested in learning some business stuff at some point, somewhere, maybe even just as low as a book. Maybe you've bought a course, maybe you've attended a seminar, but the things you learn, you've took very little action on. And a lot of the times it's because you're looking, how do I put it into action in the business I'm in and not in the business I should be in? And so a lot of times someone else can help you, an outside perspective can help you shift that. But the bigger thing here when we talk about our clients and charging more money is, like Simon said, if they're stood in front of you, then they have failed and they're coming to you because they cannot do it on their own. All right.
If they knew how to get fit and they knew that they were going to get a result, they would go and buy a DVD or they would watch a video on YouTube and they would do it themselves, right?
Absolutely. So they're there for you. They're there because they want your help. All right. Now, if you fail to, number one, if you fail, just flat out fail to close them, then that's your fault. That's not their fault. That's your fault. At some point, they didn't believe you could help them. So they're not going to invest in them.
You make a really interesting point there.
Yeah. And here's where it gets really interesting, because here's what most trainers do. Most trainers give clients permission to not believe in themselves. And because they've already failed in the past and they've already screwed up, and most of the time they've already, tried diet pills and books and things like that, they don't have high self-confidence in themselves. And so when you give them the opportunity to invest a rate that's so ridiculous, they jump on that. And you think to yourself, oh, I just made a sale. But in reality, all you've done is taken them at their lowest investment level and the lowest commitment level. Because here's what I'll tell you. Here's what trainers do. And here's the big mistake. Trainers basically underdeliver for their clients to fit their client's budget that they created in their head. Because most of them have no idea what their client's budget is. And so instead of offering a package that gives the client everything they need, for example, someone says, I want to lose 30 pounds in the next 90 days. You think to yourself, not a problem. We definitely can do that. You'd have to work out 4 or 5 times a week based on, I don't know what kind of programming you run, but you'd have to work out, let's say 4 times a week. You'd need to follow this kind of diet. You'd need to take these supplements, because make sure your food intake and everything is subsidized. You need to make sure that you do this, you do that. In our head, we say in 90 days, you could lose 30 pounds if you did all of this stuff. And then, you'd say to your client, well, this is how much 4 times a week is. And there's a price there. And then you say, and then this is what nutrition is. And the client says, well, I can't afford that. And you say, oh, no worries. We could go twice a week, like without the nutrition. And they start, basically creating a one-time program for that client based on what that client is telling them. And the problem with that is your client told you what they wanted. They wanted to lose 30 pounds in 90 days. And now you've just basically stopped them from getting those results because you have not made them believe in you enough where they're willing to just take that leap of faith. And a lot of the times, you got to understand, these people are coming to you and they're lost. They don't know anything. And so when you tell them, well, we could work out twice a week, they start to think to themselves, I'm going to lose this 30 pounds working out twice a week, and that's just a disservice. You're not delivering results to that client. And obviously results are the name of the game in this industry,
Yeah, I want to tell a little story actually, because it's definitely on that same path. And I was in London with one of my clients, and we'd been to the Tony Robbins event, and we headed to a gym. I think it was at LA Fitness, and I just finished a powerful chest session, with 6 kg dumbbells either side, and I was just doing like a finisher, pressing up, where a fitness instructor, he obviously wasn't a personal trainer, fitness instructor had just been finishing off a kind of a circuit session. This fitness instructor was awesome. He was like so motivational. You could see he'd just been like unleashed into the fitness industry, and he was like, come on guys, you could do this. And he was like really motivational. I was like, dude, you're wicked. It's like, that is so awesome. And then what happened was, when the session finished, he kind of knelt down and he got that kind of good body posture and that rapport with a lady from the session. And I overheard them chatting. And he was saying, so would you, because obviously it was his job to kind of maybe upsell personal training, so kind of get clients interested in and move them up for personal training, which is, of course, the right thing to do. And so he was chatting to this lady, and he said, would you be interested in personal training? And she replied with, well, I don't really need to lose weight, and I just want to tone up, and I just want to really get my kind of stomach showing through. And he kind of just agreed. And what happened is that the certainty in her overpowered his certainty in showing the solution. So he was, because he was obviously fairly new and kind of maybe a little bit shy, he didn't have the balls to say actually what she did need. And so her certainty overpowered his certainty. And then what happened was that she also then said, I feel that it's been a really big step for me to sign up to the gym in the first place. So I don't think that going with a personal trainer now is going to be really something that I want to move into. And again, her certainty was above his certainty. And so he allowed that to just carry on. Now, what's the result of this? Okay, what's the result of this scenario? The result of this scenario is that the uncertainty in the fitness instructor's mind, and by the way, I completely appreciate he's obviously fairly new, and this is a skill which, a lot of people need to learn. But the truth be told is that lady now, in 2 weeks' time, a month's time, could be out of that gym, lacking in motivation, and on her path back down to, possibly a very negative spiral. And so if the certainty in The instructor's mind was, no, actually, we need to look at your nutrition. Actually, part of getting your stomach stirring through is working a really different high intensity and dialing in a lot, which trainer's going to help you with, and actually saying that, well, really, you can accelerate your results by just hiring a trainer and just do a few sessions just to kind of get a taste for it, and you'll really understand how much more you're going to accelerate as opposed to doing it on your own. And him being really confident and powerful in that situation, well, the trainer's going to benefit, and also, more importantly, the woman who was in this session is going to end up thanking them because she would be on a different path. So certainty is critical.
Right. I think people are scared to be authoritative and tell the clients what they need because they don't want to offend or upset. And the truth is, you have to make them realize that what they're saying to you or what they're wanting to achieve is unrealistic. And you can say it in a way, obviously, that isn't demoralizing or, putting them down. But it's like, oh, Mrs. Jones, I understand that you would like your abs to be seen. But from my experience, and probably the reason you're here is because, as you know, slow, steady state cardio is just not going to do it. And so without the combination of cardiovascular work, strength training, and diet and nutrition, I can guarantee you that you will not get the results you want. And I would hate to see that happen, And then, you could say, is that something you want to take a risk on? Are you willing to take a risk on not getting results in the next couple of months and maybe sitting down here with me again where we could in a couple of months already have the results that you're looking for? You let them choose. It's about positioning, and we talk about this a lot. And I think that it's an undervalued thing. And it's about the client understanding the trainer understanding the transformational value of what they're offering, and that the investment is actually very low regardless of how high it is. And I think trainers, they often listen to what the client is saying and think that that's what the client actually wants. So when like someone like Mrs. Jones says, I want to see the outline of my abs, the trainer says the client wants to see their outline of the abs. The conversation they're missing is what's going on that's not being said. Why does she want to see the outline of her abs? Start digging down. Start finding out what these things mean, because she might want an outline of her abs because her husband recently cheated on her and left her for a younger woman who was in shape. And so she believes that for she doesn't grow old and be alone, that she needs to look like that too. And so her whole purpose of doing it might be to restart her entire life over again, find the man of her dreams, and, essentially be happy. And we miss that. And when we miss that, we miss understanding that the investment we're going to ask for, when we're asking them to invest in themselves with us, we miss how much value that brings to their life. And we miss the certainty and the confidence to say, this is how much it's going to cost, and not bend, break, or sway from it. And it's funny because like when we go to the doctor, and this has been, everyone uses this as an example, but when we go to the doctors, right, we don't ever ask the doctor to see what college they went to. We don't ever ask the doctor to see what training certificates they recently attended and passed. We go to the doctor and say, doctor, I don't feel good. And the doctor says, looks at us, puts a thing up your nose, makes you suck on a thermometer, puts the thing on your chest to see your heartbeat. And then he says, oh, you have, bronchitis. And you go, oh, okay. And the doctor says, here's what you need to do to fix it. Gives you a prescription. You walk to the CVS or where you pick up the drugs. You give them the prescription. They fulfill the prescription. You pay your money and you walk away. And the reason you do that is because you went to the doctor for the doctor to tell you what to do. You are the doctor. The people are coming to you because they don't know what's wrong with them. What's wrong with me? I can't lose weight. I've tried. I have no control. I eat. There's bread on the table. I have to eat it. I can't not eat it. And so they come to you completely ready for you to prescribe and to say, you will need to do this. You will need to do this. You will need to do this. But for some reason, we then allow the client to start like, well, actually, you know what? Maybe I want a little bit of this. And could I have it, but without this? And it's like, no. And people do it on diets. So one of the girls I work with, she does nutrition for people. And she didn't know how to respond to one of her clients because she sent the diet over and he said, well, this is what I eat for breakfast. And so, we came up with a nice response, but basically, yes, and that's why you hired me. And then he said, well, I want to have this as well. And it was a case of, you can absolutely have that on cheat day when we start programming them in, probably after this amount. You know what I mean? So you have to stay in the doctor authority prescription mode and understand that what you're giving them is more than just the weight loss or more than just the muscle gains, whatever it is you're working with them on directly. There's an indirect effect there. It's like a ripple, and it ripples in their life. And the more ripples, the further out you can figure out where is it they're actually trying to go, and why is it they're investing in the fitness? What is that leading them to? When you start to really understand your prospects and clients and understand them better than they're necessarily processing and understanding themselves, that's when you have the confidence and the ability to raise your prices without fear of no one's going to sign up. I'm just too expensive.
Yeah, it's funny what you say then about the cheat day, because one of my clients hired me and then I hired him back, and I said to him, when am I allowed a cheat day? He said, cheat day? What do you mean? He said, maybe a cheat meal once you send me like the pictures and I tell you can have a cheat meal. I thought that was quite funny. Actually,
I mean, you've been cheating for the last 3 or 4 years.
Exactly. So, my cheat day was basically having a whole cheesecake. So
you're like one meal, 10,000 calories.
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to what you were saying then, I mean, the reason why I can take a trainer and have him going from 1,000 a month to 5, 6, 7, 8, 10,000 a month within like 30 days or whatever is because we teach a new sales process and switching the training companies are teaching a bad model. They're teaching sell your time for an hourly session or sell a block, and I go in and I make that shift in the sales process. And I wanted to give you guys just a little golden nugget from that training, which is just ask, like when you're having the sales conversation, just have this discussion, just ask this question: do you want this result, or are you 100% committed, I'll do whatever it takes? Because there's a big difference between someone wanting it, as in going, I would love to have that body. I would love, because I'm telling this because this is exactly what happened to me very recently, and I wasn't committed to my training. So there's a difference between someone wanting it and being 100% committed, I'll do whatever it takes, i.e. AJ saying, I'm going to be on a bodybuilding stage in X amount of days' time, okay? And once you have that conversation with him and say, do you want this, or are you 100% committed, I'll do whatever it takes, then the psychological shifts in their head and you're having a very different conversation.
Yeah, so let's summarize this really for the people, because I think that, the trainers listening, some of them probably are already doing this and want to raise their price, and some of them, this is just a new concept and it's probably hard for them to grasp what we're actually saying. So let's summarize it. So essentially what we're saying is when you create your packages, you should always deliver the package that gets the client the results. For instance, if they say they want to lose 30 pounds, you should know how long it's going to take them based on your previous experience. If you're brand new to this, I guess you'll have to go on what you believe you can do. But anything less than that is not an option. So you don't charge them per session, because you're not training them per session. You're training them for a period of time. So you create 3, 6, 12-month packages. I used to sell 18 and 36-month packages, because once you get to your goal, you need to maintain. There's the option to this. You can create larger packages. You can add things to your current training that's going to increase results. There's 23, maybe more if you're only maybe a 30-minute trainer. If you can get results in 30 minutes, then you're not going to go an hour, right? So maybe there's 24 and a half hours in a day. Block out, 8 of those for sleep. Most people sleep that, 8 hours. That leaves you with, 16 hours a day, 15 hours a day that you could be providing a service to help those people. And someone said to me, how would you do that? How would I give more to my clients? I said, well, okay, what if your client took a picture of every meal they ate and sent it to you so you could make sure that they're on track? They're accountable for every meal they put in their mouth. And when they don't check in, you text them and say, hey, you were supposed to eat 10 minutes ago. I don't have a picture. Is everything okay? You just raised your level of service to them. So if you're looking for a reason to justify the price raise, which, you really don't have to have, but if you do need that reason mentally to give yourself the mind shift that I can charge more because I'm delivering more, I'm giving a higher level of service, these are the ways you do it. And that's what we're saying here is don't sell stuff just to sell stuff, because it doesn't serve your clients and it doesn't serve you at all.
If you're in desperation of needing money, then the answer is to hire a mentor and just get committed yourself, because when you get committed yourself, you will attract clients who get committed. Like attracts like, right?
Exactly. And there's a reason here. You'll notice me and Simon haven't really talked about what to charge, because that's completely up to you. We know trainers who charge $5,000 a month for services.
Mm-hmm. In fact, my client hired me, and then I hired him back. But what happened was that I thought it was going to be half the price it was, because he decided that, because I coached him on how to charge, and so he charged me double what I was asking. And of course, I couldn't then turn around and say, well, let's split it into payments or charge less, because I would be incongruent with what I told him to do. So I was a bit stuck in a situation. I thought it was quite funny.
Oh no! It cracked me off. He got you. He got that money. But here's what's important that maybe some people may not even realize in this situation. He hired you, paid cash, boom.
Yeah.
You hired him, paid cash, boom. Yeah. Not, hey, let's trade.
No.
That is the worst thing I see people doing. Always trying to trade web services with their clients, trying to trade SEO, trying to trade photography, trying to trade. And then they wonder why their clients don't want to give them money.
I always talk about the Chamber of Commerce, which is basically a bunch of people who want to go and who haven't got it, well, a lot of the time, that don't have any money to spend, and they're just there to exchange services, and they all stay broke.
Yeah, exactly. They just exchange services or stay broke. The only time you would do that is when you actually could do it to add a service for your clients. So if you have a relationship, a joint venture relationship with someone, very different. But what we're saying here is, don't try to get coaching and things like this or services done for you and then expect people not to try to do the same thing to you.
Exactly.
The way you act is what you receive. So if you want to receive something different, start acting a different way and, open yourself up to new things that you've previously thought were maybe too expensive, to this, to that. And if you're investing, if you're stuck, if procrastination's your problem, hire a time management expert. If money's your problem, hire someone who can teach you how to do this thing. Simon and I have results. And the reason it works is, you might think it's a big investment. We know we can get you that money back. So for us, if you invest, we're going to show you how to make your money back. We're not going to not show you. That's why you're investing. So it's really, it's like investing in like a stock or investing, only it gives returns so much faster.
Absolutely.
So, I think that
we could talk all day about this.
Exactly, but I think that probably captures what we're trying to say is essentially it's a mind shift.
Basically, put your prices up.
Yeah, raise your prices, no excuses. You're going to have resistance. You will have resistance to that. People won't pay me. Don't raise your prices on your current clients. You can't just tell them you got to pay me more. They get you what you got. But if they're re-signing, if they cancel, then you definitely have the new prices. Anyone new coming in, just position your offers differently, charge more. You'll be surprised how easy it is. I promise you, it's no harder to sell a $3,500, $5,000 package than it is to sell a $30 training session.
Exactly. And make sure that you come and tell us on the Facebook page, message us, add us to Facebook. Just tell us the results that you have got from implementing this. Please, we want to know.
Yeah.
Facebook.com/Fitpreneurs.
We need to give away like a t-shirt to the best story or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you come and tell us that you made £1 billion, you will get yourself a t-shirt which is too small for you.
Actually, we'll give you Simon's worn t-shirt signed. It's worth probably all of $5, less than what it would be if we bought you a brand new one. So
bargain. I'm also we want to get some other bits of gear made, like some shaker cups or something, and do some giveaways. So
cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. We got some other quick things before we let the folks get out of here today. We like to always talk about something that's trending in the industry. Me and Simon before we got on, we were singing that, let me take a selfie. That new song.
Let me take a selfie.
So they probably have no idea what song that is because that was we probably have no.
We
We're
rehearsed
not even
that.
close. Yeah, we actually did. We spent some time. We probably should have just had the YouTube music played, and then they could hear the song. But
Maybe they'll edit that in for us.
yes, or not. We shall find out. But the point is selfies, Simon. You know, what has selfies got to do with anything in the fitness industry?
Well, it has loads to do with the fitness industry because when I was building my kind of digital product suites that I released, I always was kind of like when I was out about in shops, just doing kind of training, I was always just taking pictures and just uploading them to Facebook because people just like to see what's going on in your life. And you may feel that you want to hide behind things, but do you know what? A selfie of you like in a supermarket holding up a bit of broccoli and giving a tip, or a video selfie. Everyone wants a video selfie. Then you're just going to like just provide content and value and do that in the form of selfies, pictures and stuff, other stuff that's cool. So this is just more about kind of social media and how to use the selfie in a way that can benefit your business. You can make it funny, make it silly. Like if you're walking down the street and you see someone's bum hanging out, you can take a picture of a selfie next to you. No, I'm just joking. But you get the idea. In fact, I did a selfie. I did a selfie for this episode. And I uploaded it to Fitpreneurs page, which was me next to the podcast mic asking a question of which I'm going to actually answer in a moment.
Pink onesie?
No, it was me, just mouth up to the mic. And then you started to take the mick out of that when you came on.
So, you know, the other thing you could do with selfies is have a selfie competition where you ask your clients, like, post a picture, like create a thread on Facebook and have them in the comments post what they're eating, what they're like, post their healthy meal for the day. So you can create interaction with your clients as well. You know, one thing I really think you should invest in, if you currently have a business, if you're a trainer with your own location, this will work undoubtedly well. If you're a personal trainer who's training for someone else or training out of someone else's facility, this would still work really well. I think the best thing you could invest in is a photographer. If you don't have a photographer, the next best thing is your own phone. So pictures tell stories. People love stories, and that is going to things are going to get shared. People on your social media are going to see it. The friends of the friends. You make sure you're tagging everyone in the pictures if they're in the pictures. Photos. Everyone. I mean, there's a reason Instagram got bought for $1 billion. You know.
Yeah, I'm going to give everyone a little task to see what results you have, and then please go to facebook.com/Fitpreneurs and post the results. So just post this on your social media. Hey guys, take a selfie right now and post below what you up to, ? Smiley face. Let's just see what the reaction is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? It's funny. It's like out of everyone listening, like 5 people will do this and we'll be talking about it, and everyone else will be like, why didn't I do that? So my challenge is, like, if you're listening to this, if you've managed to make it through this far in the podcast, then actually go and take some action. You have made it this far. You've done awesome. Now let's start actually implementing. So, boom, go to Facebook and get that going.
Please head to iTunes and give us a review. You know, because when you really want someone to write a review or give you a testimonial, and it's like maybe, but if you give us a review, that will mean that you will get reviews when you want them. Yes.
Yeah. And we'll start giving shout outs too for those of you who are reviewing, because we do appreciate it. We're talking to shout outs. We got a couple of people we want to shout it out to this week. The first folks we're gonna big up is our boys TJ, Luca, and Steve. They recently held the Changing the Game event. It's a fitness event out in Las Vegas. I went out to it. I spoke. It was a phenomenal event. A couple of hundred entrepreneurs there, fitness entrepreneurs, and I was privileged to get up on stage and speak and actually announce that me and Simon were launching this podcast from stage. It's just great to see some guys that, I knew before these guys were successful, and they were just building their businesses. Stephen and Luca were in a previous mastermind that I was involved with. TJ, his story through a friend of mine who mentored him, and the hustle and the work of these guys. To see them running their own event, I felt like the OG at the event. Like, I've been around for so long and watched these guys grow up in the industry, but I think they're all older than me. But it was a phenomenal event. So many great people. I met so many great people, and those kind of things are why we do what we do, is to see people come out to learn. And it was an honor for me to be able to share and pass that on. So huge shout to him.
Yeah, I just want to do a shout out to Paul Mork. He has an amazing podcast which interviews lots of awesome people in the fitness industry, and so it's also just really good to further your education and just grow your knowledge base.
Yeah, and Paul's. I was interviewed early on before he launched that. He's hilarious. Like, you'll laugh your ass off the whole time. If you do not like profanity, then it's definitely something you should not listen to. If you're serious about learning, it probably is something you should listen to. I'm in tears of laughter nearly every episode of Paul's, podcast, and he's a great guy. He has some great stuff out there, and really, really, really smart kid. Mm-hmm. So the last person shout out to is my friend Leanne Ellington. She launched her book, How to Ditch the Bitch. And I've known Leanne for a couple of years now. I met her for the first time a long time ago at a Ryan Lee boot camp. And then we reconnected last year at Sammy's Fitness Weekend event. And she was going through a transition. She built a successful business, boot camp business, and was really doing well. And she's moving into that next level. And her new project is How to Ditch the Bitch. She just launched a book, I think she bestseller pretty fast on moving up the charts on Amazon. And essentially it's about how to get over the resistance and the voices in your head, which you talked about yesterday. So if you're a big reader like myself, and I know Simon, you're a big reader too, go to Amazon and check that out. It's Leanne Ellington, How to Ditch the Bitch.
Nice. So we have a question, and I'm going to read it out, and then AJ's going to kick off the first part of the question. I actually need to find out who this is from. So as you're answering it, I'll find out who it's from. And the question is, how would you guys go about approaching corporate managers and other business owners in terms of offers, deals, talks, etc., as a way to tell them about your business, in my case, boot camps, and spark an interest without coming off sleazy or aggressive? I have a 3-week trial that I offer and want to visit a few businesses around the area and invite their employees to come out and try us out. I think that's an awesome question.
Yeah, so in my experience, what we did, I used to do when I was working at the health club, the way that we got people to come in to our business was essentially offering discount for their employees, just letting them know, hey, they could be a member for a cheaper rate. That was one way we did it. But another way we did it a lot of times was to basically essentially call the office, and you're going to get the secretary most of the time, and give the secretary a free pass. And give her maybe free passes for 3 of her friends or 4 of her friends, because that's the person who's really going to take you up on that. And then they come in, and of course, then they can refer and do that stuff. So, you don't have to get the business owner's permission in order to talk to the employees at all. It's not sleazy. It's not aggressive. You just call them up and, you put a spin on it. Congratulations. Your company has been selected as the business of the month. We call it the Business of the Month program. And what that means is, for you and 3, 4, 5 of your friends, you have a free month at our boot camp or at our location, and come by anytime when would be a good time for you guys to come in, get set up. It works over and over and over again. And the cool thing is you can have multiple businesses of the month. You can have businesses in different categories. So you can create categories for business of the month. You got to pick up the phone and talk to someone, but they're amazed. They're like, wow, I won this. They feel appreciated. I mean, they're not the highest paid employees. They're not top of the line. And so the fact that they get to do something, they love it. And of course, they're going to know who is the right people to come, because they're the secretary. They interact with everyone. So the people they're going to bring the people they think are the right fit. They're going to bring the people who think would appreciate it the most, who need it the most, because that's the role they're in, and they serving the company at that level. And so they know everyone and everything. It couldn't be your best. You couldn't have a better advocate. And of course, once they start getting results or sharing, they're going to talk about it at work. They're going to share it, and it's going to go, viral amongst the place, and then bring it in. And if you can get to the owner of the company, depending on the size of the company, then of course you have the ability to say, hey, could you email out a free pass for everyone? But it takes a little bit more work to get in front of the owner. And we probably could do a whole podcast on it, so maybe we'll save that for another time.
Yeah, and that question comes from Russian Kedik. I think I've pronounced it correctly. So thank you very much for that question. Awesome question. I'm going to do a random competition. Guys, if you want to win a call with either myself or AJ, what we'll do is, if you head to, first of all, go to facebook.com/Fitpreneurs and just go to your timeline and say, hey guys, thanks for an awesome podcast, and then tag the Fitpreneurs in it. That'll come up on the news feed. We'll check it out, and just tell us in that post below just what your challenge is, and then we'll take a look at it, and we'll do a competition, every episode or so, because we want to help you guys move forward. How about that, AJ, putting you on the spot?
Oh, absolutely. Love it. We got a lot of stuff happening, competitions, challenges this week. We'll make sure we have that in the show notes. But what we're trying to do, guys, is we're trying to get you to take action. Action brings results. It's like a snowball. You start something, the momentum builds and builds and builds and builds. And, you build a snowball, you start rolling it builds and it grows and it grows and it grows. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to be a catalyst to launching a bigger, better business for you, a business that serves you at the highest level. So take us up on these things. We love to do it. Simon, before we go, we've had amazing feedback from the show. I've been blown away by it, but we have both gotten several Facebook messages and emails from people saying, all right, great show. So what is it you guys do? Like, Simon, why don't you say what you do? I'll say what I do, and then we'll talk about Fitpreneurs and what we have planned for this show and beyond.
Yes, I work with two types of fit pros, those that are fairly new to the industry and those that have been doing it a while but want to take their income level up. So I help, I'll take a fit pro from $1,000 a month to $6,500, $7,000 a month, just making changes like we've been talking today in terms of your sales strategy, generating leads. And I just have a system that works and works and works. And then I work with fit pros that want to create a more passive income. And I have a model of how I took Paleo in a Box to 6 figures in 9 months. And that is an end-to-end system. And you can check out both of those, simonlovell.co.uk/coaching, and also there's some bits and pieces, testimonials, and just go and check that out. So two types of fit pros I work with, and really love that, talking about the mindset stuff too, because it's a massive thing. And if I can make a quick shift in the initial call that I do with my new clients, that typically makes them accelerate to a very fast pace.
Awesome stuff. I, myself, most people know I work with several top online entrepreneurs, help running their business. I actually pretty much run the operations for 2 companies, Marketing Genesis, and then formerly the Underground Online Seminar, which is now going to be Maverick Converge. So my specialty really is helping people who already have an online business and basically finding the holes and the gaps in that business and helping them go to that next level. And so my passion is helping people create that shift. Sometimes, and this is where I really want to be focused on moving forward, I'm really passionate about this. Sometimes I work with a lot of people who are very successful already, but there's something missing. And we dig into what's missing. And a lot of the times it's shifting from a business, what I call phase 2. There's really 3 phases. I won't go into those, but phase 2, they're shifting and they're moving into phase 3, which is true entrepreneurship, philanthropy, and things like that, where we're serving and we're giving back on a much greater, higher level. We remove ourselves from being necessarily a business owner to more of an entrepreneur with bigger and greater passion and mission. So I really work with moving people from phase 2 to phase 3, which usually people are already very successful, already have very significant businesses. So that's where my specialty is. But I love talking to all fitness professionals and helping. So I don't want to scare anyone off in terms of, on Facebook if they want to reach out or anything like that. But we wanted to really let you guys know who we work with, because we work with some of the same people, but essentially we have different things that are the right fit for different people, and we refer people back and forth all the time who we know that will be a better fit for a different program. And so that's one reason we came together on this, is because we both have strengths and weaknesses, and I feel together we're just we're stronger than separate. So that brings us to Fitpreneurs. And Simon, tell these guys what we are planning, because I am excited.
Yeah, so the Fitpreneurs is really going to start growing. We are going to be planning some events in the US and in the UK, and we would love to have you guys there. So the first step is to obviously go in, head over to thefitpreneurs.com. That is the domain, isn't it, AJ?
It is.
Yeah, I always forget the main name. Go ahead there and put your name and email address in, or I think it's just email. That's really good of me to know exactly what to do. Go and put your details in there so you can be updated about any events or things that we have coming up. We also will make sure that you know of the future episodes that are coming up of the Fitpreneurs. But I just see this community as one that is just going to be growing to a whole another level. And I'm sure there's lots more that is going to be coming up beyond the events.
Yep. So we are out of time. We appreciate you
But
guys.
before we
tuning in.
go, AJ, and just need to stop you there before we dive off. I have a little quote for you because every episode we have a quote, and so this one is from the master Bruce Lee, and he says, "If you spend too much time thinking about thinking, you'll never get it done."
Boom. I don't think much needs to be said with that one. It is pretty straightforward. We've talked about it on this show. I know Simon has stood up doing this episode, so right now he is doing chopping things and ninja kicks. So we may lose him here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you being on the call. We look forward to speaking to you next time. I'm AJ. This is... He is not paying attention. Talk soon, everyone.
Guys, thanks for the killer episode. Listen, if you want to take your fitness business to the next level, terminate your competition, create ultimate freedom, buy new houses, cars, which could blow up, travel the world, or open your own gym where you can lift really heavy weights, then head to www.thefitpreneurs.com/free call for details on how to apply for your free accelerator call. Until the next episode, hasta la vista, Fit Pros.